Okay, we are at part 2 of my current tour, and we're talking about my dollhouse, which is actually called a cabinet house. And again, I did this because my daughter was moving out and my husband was at work all the time, and I needed something in my spare time to do. And I wanted it to be very detailed. So I decided I always wanted a dollhouse, never had one when I was growing up. So I bought this kit, and I was meticulously careful. And I got to a point where it wouldn't fit together. And I called my genius husband and I thought, what have I done wrong? And he examined it. And about half an hour later, he said, honey, you haven't done anything wrong. The kit is not, it's damaged. It's not put together correctly. The cuts are not precise and they're not going to ever fit, even if you took a hammer to them. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, this was like months after I'd bought it from Hobby Lobby. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? We packaged it all up, and I mean, it was in big pieces and stuff because I'd gotten the frame up, but nothing else worked. And so we took it back to Hobby Lobby, and I went to a clerk and I said, I just need to speak to a manager because I knew a clerk was not going to be able to help me. And the manager comes out and I explained what had happened. And I said, look, we obviously can't do anything with this, but instead of giving me a refund, because I don't have the receipt or anything, would you give me store credit to get, because I intend to go to the back where you put all of your dollhouse furniture and stuff, and I'll just spend my store credit here. And he was very agreeable, very polite, and he apologized for all the hassle and the trouble that I'd gone through and everything, and very understanding. And yes, he gave me store credit for the full amount. And during that time, I was given this book by my neighbor, Susan. And if you ever want to know anything about dollhouses, this is how they got started. Of course, now I've got honeysuckle picked by Isabel for Grandma at Gran and Papa's house on O'Shaughnessy. Okay, so we had to be very careful. I've obviously put these in there and forgotten about them. But if you want to know how dollhouses got started, they were actually intended for the very rich. And we're talking back in the 1600s. I think the Netherlands is the one that has the oldest one, but they were designed to teach the young girls of the families how to run a household, and they were meticulous. And after reading that, and by then I'd already taken the dollhouse back and gotten the furniture and stuff, and I thought, you know what, I want a cabinet house, a cabinet dollhouse, and that's what I did. So we went to an unfinished furniture, whoops, my finger's in the way there, duh. So what is that pink thing? I'm a little slow. So we went to this unfinished furniture store, and we got this cabinet. And it was actually a, I'm going to have to move this table, I think. Well, maybe not. Let me see. Okay, I can open it up some. So I painted it. Now, inside, it's empty now. I haven't refilled it. But inside, it had the middle shelf that you see right there. And I think it had one other shelf. And Nigel said, what do you want it to look like? So I took literally masking tape. And I said, I want a shelf here and I want a shelf here. And then I did vertical shelves. Yeah, vertical, up and down. Vertical pieces of tape to show all, this is what I want for a room. And that's what he did. Now the next step, and then the very top, well, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the next step is I want him to, my husband, once he retires, he's promised me he's going to electrify it with a battery and have little lights everywhere. But just to show you, and it's good that I show you this empty now because later on I'm going to show it to you full. Now you'll know what it looks like. But I wanted it to be basically a 1930s era home. No car, because not everyone had cars. And so now we're going to go into the garage. It's got a funny story. And there are tools on the side that I've put in. And the bricks, there's a pattern, quite by accident. I had purchased the paler colored bricks, thought I had enough, was sticking them all in. Yes, I stuck all of those in with glue and realized as I was progressing, there is no way that I have enough. So I thought, no problem, I'll go back and get more. They didn't have any more of the pale. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Actually, I don't think I had stuck them down yet. I couldn't have because I made this design. So fortunately, I was you know, laying them down to see which way I wanted them and everything. And I thought, well, I'll just get this other color and figure out what to do. And that's what I did. I came up with a design. And this room is the entrance. It's very plain, as you can see. The floors that you see like that, those are popsicle sticks. Yes, I bought popsicle sticks, cut them, glued them down like hardwood floors, and then varnished them. And I cannot tell you how funny it was watching the face of the man at Home Depot when I was trying to explain I wanted some kind of a handheld thing that would cut through popsicle stick, because I was not to be trusted with any electrical saws or anything like that. That would have been disastrous. And he's like, well, and so he's asking me, what do I need it for? And I'm trying to explain to him, and he's like, okay. So anyway, what can I say? This down here is the den. There's a fireplace in there and all kinds of stuff when it's done right. But you'll see all this eventually. This is the dining room. Some of the things are still stuck up there. A neat trick to use with these, those are paper. They're not real. Well, actually, no, none of those are real. They're paper. Now here, and I remember reading an article in what was it, Home Companion. It was Mary Englebright's magazine that she did. And it was about a year before all this was taking place. And I remember I was flipping through the magazine, and I suddenly realized what I was looking at was a miniature, not the real thing. So that, this room is sort of an ode to Mary Englebright and her colors and stuff. I couldn't use tiles. That's what I thought about at first, black and white tiles. But that was too thick and it looked silly. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? So I took one large piece of linoleum, a square, and a ruler, and marked it all off. And then I painted, or not painted, but used the Sharpie magic marker, whatever you want to call it. And I painted all those little squares black. And it looks just like tile and just the way I wanted it to. This, I know it's kind of crazy. This is the living room. Now, my husband's family are English. He was the first one born in the States. And the neat thing about dollhouses, I bought a lot of the and collected over the years. I mean, we're talking, let's see, my youngest daughter's 36, and it's when she was moving out when she was 18. I collected things that reflect our heritage, if you will. So the painting on the far back is of Queen Elizabeth when she was younger. And that's his English heritage. And you'll see more of that once you see it decorated. This is the bathroom. I even have little tiny rolls of toilet paper. I kid you not. And a little tiny bar of soap that's Nigel's favorite English soap. And a little ducky for the kids, you know. Gotta reflect the fact that I've got kids. This is the master bedroom. Over here is the children's room. And it even has a little dollhouse in it too. Well, it will do. And all the a lot of the toys reflect the interests of the kids as they were growing up. Here is, we had one lady who would come in and sew. She might have been a live-in maid or something like that. Maybe a spinster aunt, I don't know. But anyway, she did a lot of sewing and stuff like that. And this is her bedroom. And this, I had fun with this room. This is the attic. So I got the wallpaper up that made, you know, look like old newspapers. And then I just took these bits of wood and cut them with my handy little handheld saw thingy and just did it like it was an unfinished attic. And the neatest thing, which is very unfinished right now, this long piece right here. So I'm going to pan back so you can see it. It goes the entire length of the dollhouse. That is going to be a rooftop garden. And I have all kinds of little tiny plants and flowers, and I have a little pond that I got in England on one of our visits, and a little cat is staring at the pond, and in the pond water that's resin. You can see a little fish, and it's fun. And so that's what that's going to be. So now you've seen the rest, or at least the beginning of the story. And I just painted it. Whoops, hello. I just painted the leaf pattern on it because I liked a leaf pattern that I'd seen somewhere. And now you know the beginnings of Jan's cabinet dollhouse. And again, there's that book that I got the ideas from. It's an amazing book. Even if you're not interested in dollhouses, and a lot of you probably aren't, it's an amazing book just to look at the history of how it all evolved, and the people who have dollhouses. I mean, famous people, all kinds of stuff. Mary, was not the Queen Mother, Queen Mary. It was the Queen's grandmother had a doll. She had it. It still exists. Queen Mary's dollhouse, and it's in. I'm not sure if it's in Windsor or where exactly, but it is the most phenomenal thing. We have a little booklet on it, and it has running water. I mean, that's how meticulous it is, and so it's really cool. But anyway, I think that's about it. I think I did my little sign here when I had that little booth there, and I had fun with that. Oh, and up there, the word 50, or the number 50, that's when I finally decided, you know what? I'm artistic. I have done crafts all my life, but I thought that's when I finally embraced it as just, this is who I am, and so it's all good. And it was about that time, I guess, when when he did the dollhouse or the studio? Maybe a little bit around that time. And then I came to realize everyone is an artist. Everyone. And I mean that because we all have our talents. We all have things that we excel at, whether that's listening, whether that's talking. I love to talk. Whether that's helping others, whether it's cooking or sewing or whatever. We all have talents. And so that's my firm belief that we are all artistic. So just saying. Now, this, I'm just now seeing this. It's actually a sewing machine cover that I made for my granddaughter. The problem is we got a new sewing machine and it didn't fit. So it fits there. But anyway, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I hope I haven't driven you crazy by, moving the camera around enough to make you dizzy. But there it is. That's sometimes I'll come out here. Yes, I almost tripped. I'm telling you, I'm dangerous. Sometimes I'll just come out here and sit and just, if it's, I'm real frenzied or whatever, and it's just nice and peaceful and calm. And people have now learned if there's a sign on the door that says don't come in, it really means don't come in because I'm probably taping a video. So, but anyway, I hope you're all having a blessed day. It's beautiful out here. It's probably about 70 some odd degrees here in Madison, Alabama. Sun is shining. The flowers are just gorgeous. And I hope you all have a blessed day, a blessed week. Take good care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.